Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Kylie Chasing Wanderlust, and this is my Japan tips, tricks, cost video. I'm gonna give you guys a breakdown of the total amount I spent in Japan, the total without theme parks if you're not interested in going to any theme parks, and also just like tips and tricks I recommend, things to do, things that were worth the money, etc, etc. So let's just jump right in. I do have a little written script, so if you see me looking away at any time, like I'm gonna have it right in front of me. So if I'm looking down at something, it's my script here. First, the total that I spent overall for the entire trip, 2-week trip to Japan, was $2,350. To some people that might sound like a lot, to other people that sounds like a little, and it's because it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through my totals breakdown. I'll have it on the screen as I go through it, obviously, and how much I spent for everything. We're going to start with flights. I spent $143. So for Airbnbs, we had a group of 6 in one Airbnb and a group of 8 in another Airbnb. And total for 8 nights between the 2 Airbnbs that I spent was $490. So and that was each person spent $490 who stayed in both Airbnbs. Transportation, this does include Shinkansen, and we got private airport transfers from Haneda to our hotel in Tokyo, and then from our Airbnb in Osaka to ITM airport. So plus trains, all of that, $360. So that's the third thing. I took $140 cash. My boyfriend also took like $300 cash, but me personally, I took $140 and I spent it all. The luggage transfer that we did, we sent 3 bags for $50 because we only shipped it one time in between our locations. We sent 3 bags for $50, but technically me and my boyfriend split up. Since I had 2 bags, I spent $30 and he had 1 bag, he spent $20. Disney tickets were for 2 days at Disney. 2 days at Disney, we spent $130 for Disney tickets. I did 1 lightning lane, which was $15. My group of friends did 2 lightning lanes, which was $30. So it's kind of like maximum $45, $160 for 2 days at Disneyland with 2 lightning lanes. Universal, if you want to watch my Universal breakdown, and this is why it's so expensive, but for the Universal ticket it was $65. For the fast pass we got, excuse me, it was $165. So altogether we spent $230 to go to Universal Studios Japan. Way more than Disney. But in my Universal Studios video that I posted last week, I break down the cost and everything we got. I'm not going to really go over that again today, so if you want to know why we spent so much at Universal Studios, make sure to watch my last week's video. And then I also did the totals for Disney merch and Universal merch, because I'm going to give you the total without theme parks. So Disney merch, I spent $110 and I got a lot of stuff. Like I would have spent probably $400 if it was back here in the States. And then Universal Studios, I spent like $70 on merch. So those are those totals. Then for our experiences, with Klook, I spent $136 on experiences, and I'm going to be mentioning and linking all those below. And then with Get Your Guide, I spent $165 on experiences, like I said, which will be linked below also. And then other experiences that we enjoyed, like the aquarium and oh my god, I'm blanking. Oh, and like a temple, etc. Aquariums, temples, it was like 20 bucks total. Then at each temple we went to, I got Goshwin and I got a Goshwin book. So altogether that was about $30 for all of that. But that came out of my cash. I just wanted to kind of note that. I spent $30 to get, oh grab it, this book. And each temple, it was either 300 yen or 500 yen to get these beautiful Goshwin drawings here. So, but this was so worth it. You should definitely get a Goshwin book if you do go. Other purchases I have listed, like that's just like shopping, 7-Eleven, food, dinner, food, all of that. Sorry. That was totaled up to $255. And I bought the sweatpants I'm wearing. These were like $65, so that was a good chunk of it. I bought another shirt for like $30. So really, like on food, 7-Eleven, snacks, all that, I didn't spend that much. And now my total though, probably add about $200 to it. for my boyfriend because he did buy a lot of my meals because, you know, he buys the food. That's just how it works in our relationship. I bought some things obviously, but he bought most of the things. So his total was probably more like 2,600 because he bought all these food items. But really, if you kind of level it out with the merch I got, you know, we kind of spent about the same if you really look at it that way. So as I said, with that full grand total of $2,350, that included 2 days at Disney and 1 day at Universal Studios with a very expensive fast pass. Without all of these things, my trip total would have been about $1,800. $1,800 for 13 nights in Japan, 2 days of travel, 15 days total that we were gone. I don't know about you, but that is cheap. And now I'm gonna get into and tell you why it was so cheap. So let's get started. For flights, our flight from LAX to Haneda Airport for me and my boyfriend was free, completely free. We did not spend a penny because my boyfriend had the Capital One card and he had about 120,000 miles on it. The cool thing with the Capital One card, I'm going to give you a hack. If you have the Capital One travel card, do not purchase anything through miles through Capital One. What you're going to do is you're going to pay for that with your card because Capital One lets you retroactively use your miles to cover travel purchases. We bought the tickets outright, but we got, I think it's 3 times miles for travel booked through Capital One. We earned 3 times miles on that purchase, and then we were able to use all his miles that he had retroactively and completely cover the cost. I think it left like 49 cents. We paid 49 cents for our flights there. Yes, it's economy. Yes, there are ways to travel hack a little bit better and get like basically free business class or first class flights, excuse me. I am not that great at travel hacking yet, but I'm good enough to know how to make the system work for you. So if you have a Capital One travel card, make sure you make all those purchases and then retroactively use your miles to cover it because you want to gain more miles. You know what I mean? Anything you can do to gain miles is what you got to do. And then our flight from ITM Airport, Osaka Itami Airport back to LAX, we each paid $143 because I did have miles. This was through the Chase Sapphire card. I did have miles, but not quite enough to cover the entire flight. I think I had about 80,000 to 90,000 miles, where my boyfriend had like 130,000 miles. So we did have to pay $143 each through Chase, and also through the Chase portal, you can't retroactively apply it. So with Chase and Capital One, if you use your miles to purchase a flight, you're still gonna have to pay the taxes and fees. With Capital One though, if you just purchase it outright and retroactively cover it, it's like you're not paying for them. You don't have to, you know what I mean? You're using miles to cover it. So even with our Chase flight, we still would have been paying some of it out of pocket because miles wouldn't have covered it because how their points redemption system is a little bit different. But still, $143 each person to fly to and from Japan is not bad, even in economy. So I'll take it. I took it. It was fine. The flight there was pretty gnarly, but also I always fly Delta. I am a Delta girly. I am a Delta loyalist. So we flew there and back with Delta, which entitles me and my boyfriend to 2 free bags each flight, 2 free check bags, might I add, and priority boarding. And Delta airline, when it comes to seats and things like that, I do think they're more spacious than other airlines. It's not as tight, especially when people lean back their chairs, etc. So while the flight there was pretty miserable, 12 hours, the flight back ended up being 9. They cut off an hour, and it really wasn't that bad on the way back. The way there was pretty gnarly though. That 12-hour flight to get there sucked. And you know right now what I forgot to add to our total? I thought I got everything. Parking at LAX, I forgot to add it to the total, but it was about, I think it was like 120 to 150 for the 2 weeks that we stayed, but me and my boyfriend split it, so it was either 60 or 75 each that we split, so I did not add that to the total, so that makes it like 24, 25, and I'm kicking myself because I'm not going to refilm this whole thing and readjust my totals, but just know, yes, we did have to pay a pretty penny to park at LAX, which always sucks, but okay, it happens. And that's, yeah, it's a part of the Japan totals, so add $60 to $75 to my final total. But anyways, let's move on to the next part, which is the fun part of this video. Me and 4 of my other friends, we all got completely free hotel stays at the Hyatt Regency in Tokyo. Completely free. Didn't spend $1 for 5 nights. All 6 of us. Pretty awesome, and I'm gonna tell you how. I personally got the Hyatt Chase card, and the offer that they offered me, it was 2 years ago. It was this great offer. Spend $4,000 in 3 months. I cannot spend that much money in 3 months, but my boyfriend, who is a Pokemon collector, he could spend that much in 3 months very easily. So when I get these cards, I basically hand the card to my boyfriend and I say, buy what you want because we need to meet this limit so we get the points. So this offer was, if you spent in 3 months $4,000, you would get 5 free nights to any category 1 through 4 hotel at Hyatt. This is an awesome deal. Okay. The Hyatt Regency Tokyo Hotel in Shinjuku, that is a mouthful to get out, my god. Whenever you look at its nightly rate regularly, it's about $380 to $400 a night. Me and my friends got it for free. Like I said, I had the 5-night reward redemption deal, so that's what I did. I chose my dates and I said, I want to redeem my 5 nights free, please, with Hyatt, which I did, which was awesome. My friends though, the blue Chase card is a great transfer partner to Hyatt. So you could transfer your Chase miles to your Hyatt account and use those miles to purchase the nights you want to stay. And the nights, for most of it was 15,000 points a night, except Saturday night for my friends was 18,000. So they needed to transfer 78,000 points. My friends have had their Chase cards, the blue cards, for a long time. So they had each of them had over 200,000 miles on the card. So they were able, my one friends were able to get their flights and their hotel stay free as well, just through Chase. And my other friend, I don't think he got his flight free, but he did get the hotels free, and him and a friend stayed. So there's a lot of ways that you can get free hotels, and really nice hotels. Like this hotel was so nice. It was in a perfectly centralized location. There was a 7-Eleven underneath it. You could walk to a train station. There were train stations everywhere, but there was actually a subway literally right underneath the hotel. It was such a convenient location, a gorgeous hotel. It was like, I'm pretty sure it's a 4-star hotel, and you could feel it. It was an amazing stay. It was great. So really look into credit card points and how to make them work to your advantage, because we did not spend a single penny for 5 nights in Tokyo in a hotel that normally costs about $380 a night. And if that's not crazy, I don't know what is. So as I mentioned earlier, our Airbnb stays, for our Kyoto Airbnb, there were 6 of us, and I believe for that one it was $285 per person. And then our stay in Osaka, which included 8 of us, it's about $205 per person divided for all of that. And we got really nice Airbnbs. We chose them based off location, based off bathtubs. We did choose our Airbnbs based off of bathtubs. So this part of the trip was cheap for the 8 nights because of the amount of people we had going with us. You can find some pretty decently priced Airbnbs and hotels in these areas though. I really actually don't like Airbnb at all unless I'm in a big group. I would never use Airbnb if it's just me and my boyfriend, like ever. Unless it's the only option. Like one time I went camping and literally there's no hotels, there's only Airbnbs. So I really do try to stay away from Airbnbs because I live in Joshua Tree. I've seen Airbnbs literally destroy our housing market. So I'm not the biggest fan, and I know they do it in other places as well. But I mean, I have been kind of doing my research, and it doesn't seem like Airbnbs in Japan are a huge deal yet. It's not like other places like New Orleans and things like that, just taking houses from people who need it. Like Japan still has pretty decent housing, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't usually like to stay in one, but if we're in a big group, I will stay in an Airbnb because it is more practical. You know, you could save a lot of money by getting a big group of people to stay in a nice Airbnb. So if you are going with multiple people, that is something to look at. The prices aren't horrible. But yeah, the less amount of people you have, the less likely it is going to be that that's going to happen. So that kind of, it does put me at an advantage for not having to spend so much money because of the amount of people we had go with us. Now it's time for experiences. So I'm going to go through the Klook experiences that we booked first, and all of these are going to be linked down below with affiliate links. So if you want to support your girl and book one of these through the links, that'd be really cool. The most expensive Klook experience that we paid for, which was worth it, was the Asakusa Sumo Club experience, which included a sumo show with a dinner, delicious filling dinner, and a free drink, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. This experience was $106 per person, but like I said, it was worth it. We all wanted to see sumo. It wasn't like an official sumo match, but it was like geared towards tourists, and I really appreciated it because I learned a lot and it was a lot of fun. The next experience we booked through Klook was the Tokyo Skytree. That was only $15 per person. You want to book things like this in advance, but that's going to come at the end of the video. And then the last thing we booked on Klook was the Osaka Botanical Garden TeamLabs experience, which was also only $15 per person. We spent $136 on Klook. Next is our Get Your Guide experiences, and that included the Kyoto UNESCO site guided highlights tour with a lunch, and that was $130. But as I mentioned in my Kyoto video, that tour took you to literally every single temple you kind of want to go to in Kyoto. Yes, they're popular. Yes, they're touristy. Yes, it's gonna be busy, but the tour was great. I'm happy that I had a tour bus take me to all these places because honestly, some of them are quite spread out. And yes, you could take trains, but there'd be a lot more walking involved. The buses have like usually in most temples, they had a little bit closer parking than like regular parking because it's for buses. So I thought the tour was great. We had an amazing tour guide. We learned a lot and we got into everything hassle-free. Every temple, because they were UNESCO sites, not every temple, but most of the temples had to be paid for. We didn't have to worry about that. We were in a group, we just walked right in because our ticket paid for it. So yes, it's a pricey ticket, but you're paying for the entrance to all these temples, you're paying for a really good lunch. It was like a buffet. So it's worth it. It's worth it. I'm gonna link that down below because it's a great tour. And then another tour that we did was the Guided Highlights Geisha tour in Kyoto in the Gion district, and we chose it at night. It was a 2-hour tour, and man, that I learned so much. Our guide, he was great. Like the amount of information he knew about Japan, about Kyoto, but also overall Japan. We could ask him any question and he almost always knew the answer. And if he didn't, he was like, I don't know the answer to that, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. It was great. He was awesome. The tour was great. We learned so much. We didn't actually see a geisha, but we saw the back of a geisha as she was walking away with a maiko, which was really cool. And if you go on this tour, you'll learn all about geishas and maikos. So it was a 10 out of 10 tour. You don't have to go at night. We went at like 8 p.m. so it finished at 10. You don't have to go that late. You could go earlier in the day, but I don't know. I kind of wanted the nighttime one. And I actually preferred it night because there was less people walking around. We were like the only people walking around. So it was really cool. Even though everything was dark, we got to see everything. So that was like a $34 tour. Did I mention the price? Oh God, it was $34. So in total, our Get Your Guide total was $165. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, we did some other paid experiences. Those included the Osaka Aquarium. That was only an $8 entrance fee. We didn't buy in advance. It was really easy to buy it there. We did just have to wait for a timed entry. If you want to buy it in advance, if you do want to buy it in advance, it's a lot easier. You don't have to wait in a line, but the line didn't take that long. We also bought a $12 ticket to the Amano Hashidate Viewland, which was where we went up on the little chairs and we saw the beautiful land mass. You could also pay to ride rides up there. There's food up there. We just paid for the pass to get up and look around. Super cheap. All of these experiences in Japan are really reasonably priced and not that expensive. So just remember that you could do a really cool experience for 1,000 yen. Like it's really cool. So that was basically all the totals for everything. Like I said, there might have been a couple little things that I missed here and there are some things that I paid for with cash that I just included in my cash total, like experiences like a couple different temples, things like that. So take that as you will, but we did a lot of things. We went to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, did day trips, did all of this for a really reasonable price. I forgot to add, for transportation, one of the days my friend did rent a rental car, and tolls, we all pitched in for tolls and the rental car costs. Between the 8 of us, the rental car each was $30. I included this in the transportation total, I just forgot to mention it earlier. We rented the car for one day, so for the one full overnight day it was $30 per person, and then I think all of us probably, because we divided the tolls, it ended up being like $15 per person for the tolls, so that is in the $360 total for transportation. So that includes the Shinkansen, rental cars, and the private cars. We also took some private taxis instead of trains. So transportation, you could save a lot of money if you didn't do a lot of things that we did with transportation. If you didn't rent a car, you would have saved money. Also, when you rent a car, you have to think you're paying tolls. You're going to be paying tolls the whole time. The bigger your car, the more tolls you're going to pay. Luckily, we had a big car with a lot of people, so we were able to divide it up and it was cheaper for each of us. But if you're a smaller group, you're going to have to be paying that rental car cost. You have to pay for the parking overnight because most places do not have a parking garage. Like, you have to park it in a coin lot, which we also helped pay for. That was like in the $15 of tolls thing. So yes, it's cheap if you're in a big group. If you're not in a big group, renting a car kind of is at a disadvantage. From Haneda Airport to our hotel in Tokyo, we bought a private car, which was $40 a person, because I hate getting off a plane and having to deal with public transportation. It makes me miserable. I'd rather get off a plane and have a private car waiting for me that's only $40 a person. That is just going to take me directly to my hotel. I don't have to worry about trains. I don't have to worry about carrying my luggage up crazy stairs. I didn't have to do any of that. Highly recommend it. That was also something I booked on Get Your Guide, which I'm gonna link. I just kept it separate, but it is bookable on Get Your Guide. From our Airbnb in Osaka to ITM, there's this app called Near Me. Near Me, we're kind of getting into tips here a little bit, so bear with me, but Near Me is a great app. It's made for airport transfers because the cars are big enough to carry luggage. We had a ton of luggage. I did not want to risk it in a Go Taxi, which is, a Go Taxi is what you should be using instead of Uber in Japan. They're everywhere. They're great. We use quite a few Go Taxis, but Go Taxis don't really have the room for all our luggage, and they're not made for luggage. So Near Me is a great app to use to get you to and from the airport if you have a lot of luggage. Alright, so now since I'm kind of starting to dive into the tips, I'm just going to continue it on that way. We talked about the price, we talked about how to get things free, we talked about all of that. Now I'm going to switch over to tips. I try my best to save money and budget while traveling. I want ease when it comes to the actual traveling portion of it. I do not want to be figuring out. And we would have also this is just a note, because of where our hotel was, if we took public transportation, we would have gone straight to Shinjuku Station after a 12-hour flight. That is where our destination would have taken us from the airport. We would have ended up at Shinjuku Station. Our whole trip, every single station we went to, I had so much ease in navigating us in and out, what direction we needed to go. Easy, simple. There was actually in Kyoto we had one day that was a little bit confusing, but we figured it out. But it was outside of the station. It wasn't even in the station. I just didn't know how to get in the station. But the whole time I was there, so easy to navigate those stations. Look at the signs. They tell you exactly where to go. Until we went to Shinjuku Station. That station is hell on earth. Everyone who said anything about Shinjuku Station is right. It was almost, I was able to get us out. I figured it out, but it was almost impossible to get out of that goddamn station. I could not imagine getting off a 12-hour flight, because our hotel was in central Shinjuku, and being dropped off first thing in Shinjuku Station. I would have cried. It would have been a disaster. So splurge the $40. And guess what? If you have more people, it's a little bit cheaper. But it was just me and my boyfriend for that flight. So we had to split it between two people. $40. Splurge it. Splurge it. It is worth it. You do not want to have to deal with a station like Shinjuku or Shibuya after a 12-hour flight. You do not want to do it. You don't want to do it. Don't do it. I refuse to do it. And thank God I was smart enough to know to do a private car. So that's a big tip. And that's the tip we're starting out with. The next big tip, especially if you're going in a group like I did, you want to 3 months before sit down with everyone and get their must-dos, because honestly, some things you could start booking 3 months in advance. Some things you could start booking 2 months in advance. Some things you could start booking 30 days in advance. You want to have everybody's must-dos and get a vote on what everyone wants to do, and then you're going to go on each site and see when in advance you're going to need to book it. Some things won't sell out as fast. An example that sells out quick, Shibuya Sky. I was not on that quick enough because we were going to do it the day we got there. All this, I was like, nah, we're not going to do it. It was gone. Things like the Tokyo Skytree. If you're going to do the Ghibli Museum, that's another one. You want to be right on it. Unfortunately, the time we went, it was closed. And that's another thing. When you sit down at this group meeting talking about what you want to do, check and make sure it's going to be open, and check and make sure on the days you want to go it's going to be open, because like we're like, okay, we'll do this day, but I was like, wait, it's closed that day, so we're gonna have to move it to this day. So you really want to sit down and figure out what you want to do, look at the opening closure dates, and look when you could book it, because that's really going to make a big difference for your trip. Like I said, some things aren't going to be sold out right away. Like if you were going to go to the Studio Ghibli Park, you do. If you want to go to Shibuya Sky at a certain time, you do. But things like the Osaka Aquarium, we bought that the day we got there. That we didn't have to buy that in advance. So there are certain things, and like certain TeamLabs you have to buy before. We went to the less popular Osaka Botanical Garden TeamLab, so that we did not have to buy like right when the tickets dropped. Same with now fast passes for Universal Studios. If you want the best fast pass, those will sell out, so you do want to get those in advance. But like actual tickets to the park, you could really get those even like a week before. Same with Disney. So there's certain things that you have to be on time for, there's certain things you don't have to be on time for, and it just kind of depends on what you want to do, where you want to go, things like that. And the good tours, they do book up. They book up sometimes pretty far in advance, especially if you have a big group. So if you really want to do one of the tours I mentioned, I would work on booking those way in advance. Same with like the Sumo Club. Try to book those in advance when you know you want to do them. You might have a chance to book them closer, but be better to be safe than sorry. Another amazing tip that I use this app for every trip I go on, because I'm absolutely obsessed with this app. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, though I wish it was. I know I don't get a lot of views, but I love your app, so sponsor me. But this app called Wandervlog. This app is the best app, and it's only a little bit of a coincidence that we both have Wander in our name. But it's fine. This app, I'm gonna do a scroll through of it on the screen here. So this is what it looks like when you open the app. It's kind of just intro, but I clicked on the Japan trip planning, and this first page you get here, it uploads your hotels and lodging. So it has our hotels and our Airbnbs. Then this is where I just said, if anyone wants to go somewhere, put it on this little list. So it's kind of the front page to go over things. Then you click on the itinerary button, and that takes you to your itinerary. Like I said, it uploads your hotel stays and Airbnb stays, so that's going to be on each day that you have it booked. But see, this first day here, I put Shibuya Sky. We didn't go. Let me delete that. So this is our Saturday day. You could scroll through, and you could see it tells you the distance there by car, how far to get, but you could click on it and change it to transit, so it's 22 minutes by train. It's really cool, and it also will tell you the walking times, as you could see as I kind of scroll through here. So this is our day 2, and a lot of places we could walk between because the app shows the walking times there the next day, etc., etc. The next really cool thing, which I love, you click on this map button, and now it's going to show you each day is color coded. So you see all those orange dots, that's what we did one day. All the green dots, that's what we did another day. And it really puts it all on the map so you could see it. And now I'm going to go over to Kyoto and Osaka. But each day that you have something listed, it puts everything, and you could see our little hotel there, or our Airbnb, where we're staying. All these really cool places. It's so easy and so simple, and I recommend this app to literally everyone. My friends loved it because you could click on the app and you knew what we were doing the next day. It was really awesome. I love this map feature, and all of this I'm showing you right now is completely free. When you click on the Explore tab, this is like for the place you're going. suggestions, things to do, articles that other people have written. Then you click on the money tab, and if you wanted to, it's a really awesome place to divide your purchases up with your friends. And this last page is kind of just your journal. You could upload pictures of where you went, but I highly recommend this app to anyone traveling anywhere. When it comes to going to theme parks, I extensively went over all my Tokyo Disney and Disney Sea tips and tricks in my Tokyo Disneyland video, and I also really went into depth on the Universal Fast Pass, everything like that in my Universal Studios Japan video. Tips and tricks, everything are in those. It's a little bit repetitive to go over all that again, so if you want, and if you're interested in the theme parks, at the end of both of those videos is all my tips and tricks, so go ahead and go watch those ones for that. I'm not gonna reiterate any of that here. Now here's some more logistical tips that a lot of people know, but some people don't, so I'm just gonna give these tips out. First and foremost, when you go, take your big check bag, leave it empty, and put a smaller carry-on inside of it, because you will need that full check bag for luggage on the way home. And I did. I did not have to buy an extra bag, but we stuffed my checked bag full on the way back, when on the way there it was completely empty. It's a genius idea. Do it so you don't have to buy extra luggage. Some people still have to buy extra luggage though. I did have kind of a budget on myself when we went, so I didn't go too crazy with buying things, but I did buy a good amount. So the second logistical tip is filling out that customs form online before you go and getting the QR code. It makes it so easy. You don't have to wait through a line. You don't have to fill out paperwork while you're there. Do it all on your phone, but make sure you get to the step where you get the QR code. You could look up YouTube videos on how to fill it out, because there's a couple steps to get to the QR code portion of it. Getting the QR code so easy. You just scan it, scan your face, boom, you're done. We had a friend, unfortunately, she filled it out online, but she did not get to the QR code step. Unfortunately, had a really rough time in the customs area of the airport trying to fill out this form when she could have had it already downloaded on her phone with QR code. So do that. Saves you so much time, makes life so easy. You probably already know this, but instead of ordering a Suica card and waiting for it to get mailed to you physically, just add it to your Apple or Google Wallet. You go to your wallet, and there's a little button in the corner that says add, and it'll say like foreign cards or non-US cards. If you're not in the US, it'll say something. You'll click on it, you'll search for Japan, there's a Suica card. You click on it, add 1,000 yen. You have your Suica card. Another cool thing about the Suica card is on the Shinkansen app, when you book your Shinkansen tickets, you could put your Suica card number in the Shinkansen app. So all you have to do is scan your Suica to get on the Shinkansen. Makes things super smooth, streamlined, and easy. So make sure you do it that way. Another tip, a lot of people recommend getting an eSIM, but the thing is a lot of, especially American phone plans, they have international data plans. T-Mobile, I don't have T-Mobile, my boyfriend does. T-Mobile, it only costs $5 a day. Every day you're using your phone in Japan, which isn't a lot. And it's unlimited data, 5G, $5 a day. For me, I have AT&T, so it's $12 a day, but they only charge you for 10 days in a 30-day rolling period. So it maxed out at 120. I was there for 13 days, so like 3 of them I got for free. But a lot of phone plans have these international roaming options, so you don't really need an eSIM, especially if you have T-Mobile. T-Mobile is cheap enough, you do not need an eSIM. You just don't. It's so cheap. Don't get an eSIM. You don't need it. Right. That is really all I have when it comes to how to get things for cheap for Japan, and what things to do, and tips and tricks. Really, a lot of this is available online. I got all this information online, guys. I'm just laying it out here for you in a video to let you know, like, Japan is cheap. Now, I do know they are not waiving tax on big purchases for foreigners, but it's like, whatever. If you come to America, it doesn't matter if you're from here or not, you're gonna pay taxes on things you purchase. So I don't understand why it wasn't like that in Japan. I'm actually kind of glad they're changing it, because with the amount of tourism they have, they should be getting taxes from foreigners. That just makes sense to me, because I live in a country with a ton of taxes. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope it got you excited for Japan, And I don't know if you saw my shirt, but we're just gonna end this video by saying abolish ICE, free Palestine, and fuck Donald Trump. And if you don't agree with that, you don't have to be on my page. Yeah, so good morning to everybody who said fascist. Have a great day. See you in my next video. We're going to Sweethearts Night. So not next Monday, but the following Monday, you're getting some Sweethearts Night content, baby. And I am so excited. Thank you so much for watching. Keep tuning in, like and subscribe from Chasing Wanderlust. See you guys next time.